So this is something that doesn't get talked about enough. Um, Basically, you'll see a lot of stocks have a lot of communities. Okay, so here's. I thought I was off of mute, but I realized I was not off of mute, so I'm going to redo that. But there's a lot of stocks and a lot of social communities, online communities. And what I mean by that is, especially when something's squeezing, like a lot of things become popular. So when nothing is a threat of being squoze, like it's actually hard to go find a community that gets 400 or 500 people in a day showing up to talk about a fucking stock. I mean, obviously Tesla's one, and there's a couple out there, but there's a lot of stocks that only have supposedly retail support at the worst possible times. Now, I definitely have a list and evidence of several bulls who only show up at the worst possible time and always go bearish when you're actually buying the dip before the rip. And we've had many of fucking rips in MULN. There's been many times where we've gone up 40 to 200 fucking percent in a matter of a week because we've fallen so fucking much, so fucking fast. And yet, the MULN bulls that love to show up, they literally will be telling like as much as I've ever told someone to buy and YOLO and all this bullshit, you'll hear these same bulls talking with that same type of fucking energy. And then when it's no longer time and when it's about to have a small little rip or whatever, that's when they come and they're like a little bit more passive. And now it's rather than saying their own stupid, ridiculous things, they're going and looking for other people being too bullish and then shitting on that person and David Mitry at the same fucking time. I don't like, here's what I know. I only know a little bit. What I know is the fucking files from the lawsuit got filed by the fucking defendants October 5th. The Israel war started 0 business days later. There is no other lawsuit. There is no other event you can look to on October 5th, October 6th, October 4th, October 3rd. There's nothing. I mean, October 4th or 3rd, it was the House Speaker got kicked out. But that's like obviously can't be a catalyst to starting a war. Oh man. And so what I know is that David Mitry hired a lawyer, and this lawyer set all of that in fucking motion. Beyond that, I've been stuck 2 years with a bunch of fucking lying motherfuckers that love to point out how bad I look sometimes, but then like look even worse than I do because every time I was a bear on MULN, the stock fucking crashed hard as fuck. Every time I was a bear, it crashed hard as fuck. And they were always the crazy bulls at that same fucking time. They were sounding like me begging you to fucking buy at the worst possible fucking time when I was telling you not to. That much I got evidence of. And then these same motherfuckers come and shit on me every time when I'm just pumping because like now's the fucking time because we actually have the catalysts. Like I came back in June and I'm pumping for a week. First off, in that week we went up. It was at least 150%. Secondly, the following week we get an update from David Mitry says he's hiring a lawyer to investigate all the trading going down and we will sue if something goes down that we don't like. So I started that shit. And then I start this fucking. Then after that shit, the lawsuit gets filed. Now we're fucking here and like, I mean, we're just pumping because obviously the lawsuit's the greatest catalyst of all time that's ever been present in MULN. Like nothing's like lawsuits are fucking strong. You win money when you sue. Like every time someone gets in a car accident, they go hire a lawyer to sue because they always win. You never lose if the other person got insurance. And insurance only means covered in liability. If they're the richest person in the world, that is insurance. They don't need insurance because they're rich enough to cover the insurance. Like, there is no filing bankruptcy for rich people. And so, what I want to talk about is obviously I see a lot of this in MULN, and it drives me fucking crazy. But it's all hypothetical. Like, it's all just a lot of things that if I put it together, it's the only thing that makes logical sense. But what evidence do I have that shit gets dark and deep? This is the evidence I got. So I went to high school with this kid, right? He's talking about GameStop before I'm talking about GameStop. And I started talking about GameStop February 1st, 2021. So I find out about GameStop 2 days after it hit $483. Like, I was way late to the fucking party. But I see it. I go back, I do all the research people have been talking about for the last 6 months on GameStop, whether it's Wall Street Bets, whether it's Twitter, it doesn't matter. I start reading. And then it becomes clear and obvious that retail really has shown up at GameStop. That because they're crashing the price 88% in 2 weeks, which is what happened on GameStop after $483, that it was definitely going back up. Because just like I showed up to see what was happening in GameStop, it went from when I showed up, there was 2 million people in Wall Street Bets. Within 3 days later, it was 10 million people. So they all just witnessed the same thing I did. And all the things I just witnessed told me that, well, if retail keeps buying, we're going to win. And like the 8 million people showing up just shows that like 8 million people about to buy. And so like, I just knew we had to win, right? Well, so GameStop starts crashing. I start posting like, you got to be in GameStop, people. What are you doing? And this kid from high school starts hitting me up in my DMs telling me I'm crazy. He was part of the first GameStop movement and that it went so high and now the market makers like caught onto the plan. We can never win again. He got screwed. I'm about to get screwed. Like, we just need to accept that there is no hope. There is no winning. I was like, dude, shut the fuck up. What is wrong with you? Like, I was always better than you in high school at everything. Like, I've been right about so many fucking things. I'm the one over here building businesses. What the fuck have you done? Like, this shit is happening, motherfucker. And if you lost money on GameStop somehow, like, this is your chance to fucking win because I'm going to 100x my fucking money. And GameStop squeezes a week later, 300%. And my best bet was $2,000 into 180,000. No. That was only on the first day. Like, I got a screenshot of it, but it was, I mean, I ended up turning about $15,000 worth of options into $1.5 million. But the point is that this kid in high school was not scared, was not a believer. This kid knew something. This kid became a FUD daddy. So what I'm proposing to you is that FUD daddy is not the rich market maker spending his sweet time doing this. FUD daddy is somebody who lost money in 2022 of March squeeze when I promised everyone we were going to $10 plus and we hit $4 and then just fucking went to zero. And 0, 0, 0 after that ever since. And we just keep finding new zeros. And so FUD daddy is somebody who came in and said, I'm so mad, I'm suing. He sues. They say, look, sign this document, sign this non-disclosure agreement, and we're going to show you what's really happening. And we're going to show you how this world really works, and we're going to bring you on the inside, buddy. And so they do it. And then they like become corrupted in learning what the market is like and how bad it really is and how like there is no, how do you even explain it? There's no barriers between the fiction of Twitter and social media and the reality of fucking the corruption. Like, what I'm trying to say is I had a kid I knew for 18 fucking years And this kid signed a fucking agreement. The way he spoke to me after GameStop squeeze guarantees to me he signed a fucking agreement. And he knew GameStop was going to squeeze. And he was getting paid to tell people it wasn't going to squeeze the second fucking time after he already hit it and or lost something, decided to start sue, and signed an agreement to find out what's really going on and join the fucking devil. Like, I know that happened to this motherfucker. And then I look around at everything happening in MULN, and it just seems like bull or bear, they're all the fucking same. But obviously, if the MULN lawsuit is a catalyst to expose the corruption, then it doesn't matter if you're a bull or bear. It doesn't matter what you say. Like if you just think about it from the context of, okay, this is squeezing. The bulls didn't want it to squeeze. The bears didn't want it to squeeze. But it's squeezing anyways. We here. And the only one we could actually thank for it is fucking David Mitchery. But then what is the new objective after the squeeze? The Bulls are here. They're marching. They're raising up their fucking heroes. And you got a fucking brand new lawyer about to file new lawsuits. Like, the idea that you think Mark Basil can help make MULN get a better financing deal is fucking stupid. David's only ever signed one real financing deal. Everything else after that has just been the majority shareholders forcing David to sign whatever the fuck they want. Nobody was getting money when David IPO'd. Nobody was gonna get money before or after David IPO'd. They changed the rules to look so ugly, knowing David was coming, to say, this is the only deal you get, David. You have to give us your company in order to start your company. First time ever. And basically, they just abuse. FUD Daddy, quiet. You're distracting me. I'm going to have to kick you out. I'm just kidding. FUD Daddy's coming to my side. But I just feel like the only thing they have left to do is to control the narrative after the squeeze. And what does that look like? I mean, obviously, rule number one is find a way to make sure that nobody cares about what Marcus is saying. And sometimes Marcus does a good enough job to arguably, like, make them not even needed, right? Like, sometimes I get so angry, sometimes I say such things that, like, maybe 10 million people show up and just 9.99 million of them just hate what they see. That's possible. But outside of suppressing me, what is the goal of the Bears, and what is the goal of the shorts, and what is the goal of Israel? What is the goal of the United States? What is the goal of... So when I talk about a Jew, I don't fucking care about a religion. I mean, obviously, if you live by the Old Testament, you're pretty retarded. But when I talk about a Jew, like, the number one definition of a Jew to me is somebody who hates the poor. Somebody who looks at America and says, what's wrong with this country is that these motherfuckers on the streets aren't appreciating the opportunity they were born into, and they're criminals, they're thieves, they're murderers, they're rapists. That is the highlight definition of what a Jew is. So if you fit that mindset, if you hate the illegal crossings in the border more than you hate your American politicians enforcing the fakest laws on the books while letting all the other rules go, like, you're the guilty one. You are the Jew that the Bible speaks of, saying these Jews who claim to be Jews but are not Jews, but are the synagogue of Satan. You hate the poor, you wish they didn't exist, and you promote the people that are actively killing the poor on a regular basis. And everything in this world is about killing the poor. And that's a fact of life. And that's why the poor people die at such high rates and numbers. Unbelievable compared to the, like, once we get the real data, you guys are going to be shocked with how real what I'm saying is. But again, what is the goal of these people? United States, Israel, market makers, shorts, longs. What is the goal of everybody who likes the world they live in right now and just wanted to get incrementally better? Again, they got to shut people like me up. Because if somebody like me ever gets a platform, somebody who's literally willing to die, like I pray the day that I can do something that convinces one of these rich motherfuckers to kill me. Like, I don't want to go out in the street and just fight a homeless person until I fucking die. I want to do something that embarrasses these rich motherfuckers so bad and gets them so angry they feel justified in their anger to fucking kill me. That's the best way to die. But I think they're all pussies. Like, the Bible's pretty clear about me not dying, so I'm not really worried about that. But, like, I'm gonna egg it on till the day I die. You go back and you, like, look at anybody that was worthy in history. They all lived for something they were willing to die for. They all put their life on the line, said, I'm gonna do this or die trying. Everyone else is the person that hates the poor people, that want to see poor people dead. Imagine knowing in your head mathematically that you are a 99% favorite to live a better life if you live in the same household of a mother and father. And then imagine knowing that 90% of the people stealing and committing murder are people who come from a single household. And then imagine blaming these people stealing and breaking laws rather than the government who literally created the system to turn the black family into a single family household or a single parent household. Like, imagine how stupid you look. And that is 90% of white Americans right there. Oh, it drives me nuts. You guys all love to say that people are just taking advantage of their fucking privilege and that it's on them, but you all have the mathematical proofs in your head that know that they are fucking doomed from the beginning. Oh, man. And you support the politicians and government that create it. I mean, you claim to not support it because you act like you're edgy and you're voting for Donald Trump, who is supposedly the anti-establishment. Yeah, you're a fake, phony Jew fuck. That's what I know. Trump is a Jew. He's a WWE wrestler. And anyone that thinks they're saving the world by fucking voting for Trump is a bitch ass motherfucker. Like, in real life, half of the bulls that you guys see and follow probably are also half of the bears. They probably run both sides. And they're always saying the things that, like, they're written, like, so if the stock price is going to go up, there's a certain way you write your messages to where you can get people to sell and or not be buying until they can see what happens. You start talking about dates that are coming up that could be negative for the stock price. And so it, like, will be like, okay, well, maybe that'll make somebody wait to say, okay, they see that message. Well, if we've gone down since then that's when I'm going to buy. And so, like, they work narratives into their messages, and I see it all the time. I just got, like, back in the day, I used to enjoy trying to expose it and find the inner meaning of every single fucking lying motherfucker's message, but I'm just so fucking tired. This was way worse than I ever thought it was gonna be. Like AMC was bad, and there was a lot of bullshit I had to deal with during AMC, but it was nothing like MULN. MULN was fucking life ending. Like if I didn't come from a history of success, like if I didn't come from dominating school as I went through it, dominating door to door sales as I immediately jumped in at 18 years old, dominating the roofing business, then dominating the stock market in like just mastery of understanding, and then dominating the fucking GameStop squeeze and then AMC squeeze. Like if I didn't come back from all of that in my history, there is a 0.0% chance I could be alive right now. Like, if I didn't have something to fall back on, of something good to remember, I would be dead. I'm curious to know how many people have, in the last 2 years, have committed suicide that invested in MULN. I guarantee it's more than zero. Guarantee it's more than zero. And so I'm going through, I'm blocking a lot of the people. Like, they're never going to hear from me again. If this shit squeezes, I make a little bit of money and, like, nobody shows up. Like, the 10 million people that show up to see what happened don't show up to my YouTube, don't show up to my Twitter. Then, like, I'll take whatever pennies I got and I'll go figure out something to make people realize. If David Mitchery doesn't get up on a stand and say, I couldn't have done it without that motherfucker Marcus Ray, and that he is the single greatest man walking this earth, there's no doubt in my mind. If David Mitchery doesn't say something like that, then, like, maybe MULN was just about, like, ensuring my freedom and giving me a little bit more time to go find the way to wake you fuckers up. The one thing that's certain in this world is every time somebody, a good person or a good group of men showed up and said, we're going to build a community that actually cares about people and freedom and housing and food for everyone and all these different things, all at the same time, in a truly happy society, every single time someone showed up like that in the last 2,000 years, they were executed. It doesn't matter if you're talking about the fucking Jesus. It doesn't matter if you're talking about Germany. It doesn't matter if you're talking about America. It doesn't matter if you're talking about Mormonism. Every fucking time they come in, they kill the good ones and they take it over with the bad ones and they change everything it was supposed to be. This time feels different. This time feels like if we ever found that person, then, like, I just feel like America's too free, too open, too public for them to at least get away with it. Like they got away with killing Jesus. They couldn't do that twice. They couldn't do that again. Not in the modern age of America. Everyone would see it, and I mean, like, it just feels like maybe there's a physical possibility to it. Like, I mean, I would hate to believe that I'm actually immortal or that anyone actually could become immortal. Like, it seems like the religions have tried to build this magical um, unapproachableness of the scripture into every single church so that no man could be worthy to stand up as a righteous man, because it's like, basically, oh, if you're really righteous, then why don't you heal the sick? And it's like, I have lots of questions about that. I'm not against believing that it's possible, but I am against believing that it's necessary, because it feels like everyone's just so laid back and complacent and waiting for something to happen rather than forcing it to happen. You can force righteousness, and how could that be a bad thing? It can't be. It could only be a good thing, but you can only force it with the numbers, with people showing up in one community, just tons of people all saying we'll never listen to anyone else again. And we're doing it our way, doing it the right way. I mean, you look at nature, you look at everything, it's the only way anything proper gets done is one person leading it. There's got to be a hierarchy. You're always going to be serving someone. Might as well choose to stop serving the devil. But the only way you can do that is by choosing somebody better and giving them the power. Um, yeah. So again, like I feel like what I did with AMC was basically I proved enough to get MULN started. Like GameStop was the proof that I was right about the squeeze, and then that made it easy for me to talk about the AMC, and then AMC squeezing was proof to like millions of people that squeezes are real, that dilution matters, that outstanding shares versus total possible dilution is widely important. And I believe that led into MULN, motivating MULN, like people to believe that MULN could happen, and then trapping us into this death spiral. And then that eventually, if nothing else, will lead to a little bit of money and some type of security of American freedom. And I believe that like we were supposed to be going Agenda 2030, but like way faster, and that we were supposed to be losing all of our freedoms. COVID was one shot at stealing our freedoms. I mean, they definitely got some of them, but they definitely didn't get as much as they wanted. And it felt like something big was coming, and it felt like we kind of stepped in the way of that with MULN. It feels like for the first time in history, we're actually going to take a positive step. Like rather than just stopping the evil, we're actually going to push the evil back for once and reaffirm what it means to be a free American. Because in a free world, in the America that I was promised I was born into, the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, I did not get that growing up. I did not get that from an early adulthood. Every job I've ever got, every fucking thing I've ever had to do, there was always someone standing in my way trying to stop my ability to find my life, liberty, and happiness. That's a fact of fucking life. And they were rich motherfuckers every fucking time. Jew ass motherfuckers. I don't care if it was a politician. I don't care if it was like, I mean, the insurance companies is the best example I got from a young age. Insurance companies are literally, you pay them to come and pay for damages on your house. But if somebody knocks on their door and convinces them to file a claim that they fully have a right to file, this insurance company will come and look at you and say, you're too young, you're too stupid, you're too this. I'm not paying for anything on this house, even though I would have paid for everything and 1,000 times more had the homeowner filed the complaint by themselves. But since they hired you, I'm not paying a fucking penny. Like, I got told that hundreds of times and had to fight through months of fucking bullshit paperwork to get millions of dollars paid from Jew-ass motherfuckers that just didn't like my attitude, didn't like my resume, and thought they could shit on me because I fucking was unlike every other 50-year-old motherfucker doing the job. I was a 25-year-old motherfucker doing a 50-year-old man's job. And yet, every other 50-year-old man I ever met doing that job never installed a goddamn roof in their life. And I've done hundreds. It's crazy. This world sucks. What up, man? What up, hustler? Alright. Well, um, what else? Yeah, so again, let's just get back to what do these people want post squeeze? Because that's the whole point of this. And we keep I keep circling around to build the stage for it. But if GameStop led to basically my online community seeing AMC and willing to invest in AMC and buy the options like I was begging, and they did. I mean, the amount of AMC options that we bought before the squeeze was a lot. Like when we were comparing it to every other stock, it was so infinite more. And it was like the only stock where the most amount of options were bought at the furthest out of the money strike. And it was juicy. But what is that AMC movement having its success, every single option chain and strike going in the money, leading to MULN. And now MULN's success, obviously, if we have any success, then money is going to be part of that. You can't be debt. If we just traded up 1%, down 1% for the last 3 years and we never moved up or down, I could understand arguing that if MULN ever won anything, then it has to include a stock squeeze. It doesn't have to include a stock squeeze. If we hadn't really lost all of our money, only options people lost, and the stock buyers were just broken even the whole time, I could see how a stock squeeze could maybe be argued against, and maybe just the whole stock market gets shut down, and the only way you get paid is through a lawsuit and some bullshit. But seeing that everybody's down 99.999%, there's no chance that MULN gets any type of victory without just a major, massive, stock squeeze. And so the stock squeeze got to come. We're going to get that. But, I mean, in AMC, retail made billions of dollars and absolutely did nothing to show up, meet each other, try to create a community, do anything. They did nothing. They disappeared. They took their money and they ran. And so, because that's true, I don't have a huge amount of faith in the idea that just us squeeze it. We could squeeze to $1 million a share and money's still not enough to fix our problems. It might be enough to make you happy in the Jew world that exists, but it's not enough to take care of the poor. The only way to take care of the poor is to change the way we live. But that doesn't mean get rid of everything. That just means get rid of a lot of the garbage. Get rid of a lot of the people running the garbage. It's a real problem. So much money just burning. So many buildings just empty. But let's say we squeeze tomorrow. Let's say MULN hits $100. The Bulls are going to be cheering, saying they were calling it, having space calls, all celebrating, popping bottles in the background, just saying what vacations they're planning, what they're going to eat, drink, and be happy. I don't know. What else are they going to do? I find it hard to believe they're going to tell people, don't sell, don't sell, don't sell. Hold until the moon. It seems like they're just going to go to instant celebration mode as if everyone's already sold everything. I can't imagine what that's going to be the easiest way to spot out the bulls, though, is I mean, it's one thing to take 10%, 20%, even 50% of your position. If you're up millions of dollars and you knew that's all the money you ever needed and you could take half of that and let the rest ride, that's fine. If that was all the money you were looking for in the first place and you're only going to take half to get there and just let the other half try to moon, I could respect that. But to be claiming to be a MULN bull after the squeeze, I mean, within 30 days of the squeeze, and just celebrating about cashing out and what you're doing with your money and asking other people about their money, That is just going to be the lamest thing I could possibly imagine, and it feels like that's what everyone's headed for. Feels like that's what the space cult's going to be like. The bears, obviously, we squeeze anywhere above $100. Like, even if we are still thousands of dollars below hitting our natural price from 2 years ago, like, just squeezing from 17 cents to $100 is so much for anyone who averaged down that, like, the bears got no argument. It's just too much profit. I mean, below $20 squeeze, like, maybe the bears will stick around, but if we go below $20 squeeze, then that just means the lawsuit hasn't finalized yet. Like, there's something about the lawsuit that's being held up, and we got to wait for the next phase of the lawsuit. Because a $20 squeeze or less just means 100% manipulation. There's absolutely no chance that that's retail buying power. Like, it has nothing to do with supply and demand. And the lawsuit is the only thing that guarantees that we even have a chance of getting one stock squeeze with true supply and demand. Because at the end of the day, if that's what we're getting, we should really be expecting all the markets to either go to zero and or go way up, at least 1,000% per every other stock, giving the and so. But if like every other stock does 1,000%, it literally means MULN's going to do 1,000,000% returns, and I'm not exaggerating. And the reason I'm saying that is because what they'll be admitting is that the market caps are too small on some of these companies that are actually real companies that aren't going bankrupt. And in these cases, because they're so small, they need to raise the market cap of everything across the board so nothing looks like a mathematical squeeze play to retail investors who just want to find the cheapest fucking stock with the least amount of dilution. And so there's a very real chance that MULN squeeze is going to lead to the entire market across the board squeezing. And if it does, that means MULN's going to squeeze so fucking hard, and that's what we want. Like, that is the ideal situation. But it would be the admission by the market makers admitting that squeeze plays work exactly how I've been saying for 3 fucking years, no differently, and that they've been cheating for 3 fucking years to slow it down and confuse the people, and that they are raising the prices of everything so much that now they have 100 billion dilution in every single stock that has any potential. And so they're like, now it's like, if you want to try to squeeze a stock, like, you throw in $10 billion and they can just crash you down fucking 50%, and they still got $50 billion of dilution power. Like, that's the type of world where I feel like they're building themselves into. Looking at how they added shares to AMC, GameStop. GameStop went from 300 million possible shares back in 2021, never broke over 50 million. And for some reason, before ever getting to 300 million or even close, they fucking raised it to 1 billion shares. Like, it's all over the market. It's everywhere. It's happening. And I think in a perfect world, you can't have a stock market. You just can't. Like, the business is good or it's not, and if it's good, it don't need a stock market, and if it's not, then, like, it should be bankrupt anyways. And if it is good and it's a good idea and all this other stuff, like, you don't need a stock market to be able to raise charity money. Like, we just need to start calling it charity, because that's all it is, because clearly stock ownership means nothing. Like, retail owning the stock used to mean something, but it doesn't mean anything anymore. So now it's just charity. It's identical. There is no difference. And since they decided to make the market like this, they really deserve the market to never exist again. But if the market is going to exist, it's just going to be a very boring and slow market where everything's extremely overvalued, and that way no one's trying to chase a squeeze ever again. Which would make MULN the last stock squeeze of all time. And the way a retail stock squeeze works is it goes up until you decide to sell. And we probably would have to sell. So we're going to jump to $1, and then we're going to get $1 billion of FOMO in, and we're going to probably run to $50 to $100 before that $1 billion gets filled. Meaning that probably 10 to 20% of people cash out between $50 to $100. And that is how those billions of people get billions of dollars get moved into shares from new retail investors. And from there, after we break 100, another billions in wave of FOMO comes in. And honestly, the ones that are buying in after the fact, after the squeeze starts, I don't know that they're ever going to sell. Like if you're coming in as the FOMO, if you're not already in pre-squeeze, like pre-squeeze people, guaranteed they're going to trim profits. They've lost so much. They're behind on bills, all these different things. People are trimming profits, no doubt. But the people that come in as the FOMO after we're already up 1,000%, man, if they see another 1,000% right after they get in, I don't know that they could ever sell. Like they're just coming in with house money, fun money. Like these people just jumping in to see what happens. And so, mathematically speaking, like if this is the first retail squeeze without manipulation, there is no limit to the price. Like $10 million a share is very possible. Very, very, very possible. And if the market gets halted after that, like it'd just be a week to figure out how they're gonna pay us, how we all figure like how it all gets resolved. But it gets resolved with you being a rich motherfucker. That's for sure. Whatever system that like if this causes the great reset and they just say, okay, we're erasing everything, you keep the properties you got, but outside of that, we're redoing the money and this is how we're gonna split it up. Like ain't nobody getting more of that split than the MULN motherfuckers that caused the great reset. Otherwise, it's war. Otherwise, it's guaranteed war. And the one thing the Bible is clear about is war is not happening. There'll be wars and rumors of wars, but in the end, everyone hangs up the guns. That's what the Bible says. Everyone hangs up the swords, and we beat this world without the violence. Um. So again, more importantly than money, it feels like the freedom is what we're really going to get. And what freedom means is that corporations, like government entities, and the alike are no longer going to be able to try to incriminate us, demoralize us, or tempt us. And what I mean by that is like it's definitely Fortune 500 companies and the United States government and Israel that are spamming like feeds on Twitter with the closest things to pornography. And then if you click on any of those things, you instantly find infinite amount of pornography. Like the whole idea of people coming in, like again, I don't care much about the stock market, but the idea that if something is naturally being popular, like if somebody, if let's just say there's a new artist that comes out that sings really offensive things and the government, the Fortune 500 companies, and the crybabies all want to get these people canceled or get this person canceled. Like the whole idea of canceling no longer going to exist. Like every motherfucker going to have the right to feel like they can say whatever they want to say with absolutely zero recourse. Outside of individuals liking or not liking what you got to fucking say. But there is no government that will punish you. There is no Fortune 500 company that will dox you. That's the free America that MULN is bringing to the table. And if that's all it is, and like I just gotta go and find another way to start being awesome in that new environment, like The only thing I know is that anytime I've looked anywhere for any opportunity, I always found an opportunity and it was better than what everyone else was doing in the industry. Every single time. Everywhere I've ever looked. Didn't matter what it was. Life insurance, roofing, stocks, options. It's always the same. So I just want something to change so I can go try to find the new opportunities in the new world. That is my that is what I'm looking forward to. And hopefully this all starts tomorrow. Hopefully it all comes with the update. I mean, it could become an end of day today. They don't have to wait till tomorrow. But all I care about is seeing the amended complaint right now. And once it comes out, I'm going to read it to you guys. Give you my opinion as I read it. Until then, I think I said what I want to say. Hustler, man, if you want to say something, now's the time.
What's going on, Marcus? How are you, man?
Good, bro. How are you?
All right, I'm hanging in there. Uh, I guess you. I hope everybody listening buy options, but everybody has their own path and everything. But you made some good points. I don't know what this lawyer is doing. I don't know who hiring who, but it seems like I don't know. David Mitchell doesn't listen to nobody, but the problem is, like you said, he really doesn't own the company. And when you don't own something, it's hard. It's hard to listen to the people when you really don't own it. You know.
And maybe that's why David Mitchell had to hire outside counsel. Maybe that's why David Mitchell had to hire outside counsel was because the lawyers working for MULN aren't working for David. Just so you know, man, like, bro, anytime you open your mic, it is like screaming like Satan white noise at me. I don't know what's going on right now, but go ahead and try again, I guess.
Yeah, can you hear me better now?
Yeah, much better.
Yeah, much better. Okay. Yeah, but yeah, I just think he just took too many bad loans, man. He really did himself in when he took the money. It's
Well,
like
he
he
only took
signed up for
one
nothing.
bad
He only
loan.
took one bad loan. Well, even one bad loan is bad. These people got their hand in your pocket from the time you start.
I mean, if it's his only
I mean, if
option.
it's the only option. Well, Marcus, you know the saying, all money ain't good money, man. You know?
And I feel like I've done
I
a pretty
feel
good
like I've
job
done a pretty good job
avoiding bad money,
avoiding bad money,
but I
but
don't know that
I don't know.
I don't know that that makes it possible for David to avoid it. Like David could avoid the money, but that just means giving up on his dreams, giving up on his business. Like I mean, this dude's literally been working on this stuff since 2012. Like he could say no to the money, I guess, but by saying no to the money, I mean, it just feels like the stock market was dead then. Like this moment that we're seeing right now, where everything looks like it's about to explode, is like it would not be here without MULN. Everything got more than enough dilution, nothing as a strong enough story to be game changing, market changing, or anything. MULN has all of that and more. Like it's not just MULN coming out with a little go kart EV. Like they've literally already announced that they're 1.5 times better battery than Tesla, minimum. And they said it could be better. 750 miles per charge. Like that in itself, like they said it in the first month that I started looking at MULN. That in itself was enough for me to know that this is something you can pump because the dollar value you can place on this company in the future is already infinitely high. And stock prices today are supposed to be valued at what they can realistically be priced at in the future. If you can realistically give a future price and back it up with some type of evidence, the stock should be worth it today, not in the future. Like that's how stocks are supposed to work. And so, yeah, I don't know. I just see how evil this world is. Like there's absolutely no way David was going to have enough power or platform to change this world without it, and it feels like there's absolutely nothing else in this world that's going to change this world. And so it feels like without David taking this bad loan deal and getting us here today, like we all just died. Depopulation, humanity going down to 500 million people in the next 7 years was fucking happening. That's what it feels like to me. I mean, that's what Agenda 2030 says they wanted. But outside of that, man, I think I'm done here. So unless you got some final thoughts, yeah, buy MULN options, definitely, especially if you can find them for 1 penny. I haven't really been looking at those recently just because my brother put in $1,500 and we got them all filled. And so, like, I'm just chilling now. And I'm just really want to wait for the lawsuit.
I hear they're at 3 cent now. So, you know, it's at 3 cent. I put a lot of orders in limit for a penny, but they ain't coming through though.
Yeah,
You know,
with
because
with the 20% price action day, that doesn't surprise me.
yeah. So, hopefully tomorrow's a better day. You know.
Yeah, I mean, again, once we get the lawsuit, I'll read that out. And I mean, I'm expecting to be like, sound like I got a voice in my party as I'm reading that shit. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for stopping by.